Okay, so in my previous video, I talked about the overlog anomalies. I tried to show you all the anomalies that you can find in this location and point out some interesting facts and theories about them. Since then, I was thinking, what could be a good topic to talk about in the next video? And even though I created a poll on my YouTube channel, you can see it wasn't much helpful after all. So I decided to postpone the video about the original timeline for next month, so I can have more time for better analysis of all Polaroids. With that being said, let's dive into the topic chosen for today. In this video, I would like to discuss with you something that's been bothering me for quite some time, and we also discussed a bit about it in the comment section of my first video. As we already know, Max was the one who shot Safi. We can see the scene for 2 times during the game. It's almost the same. Max is holding the gun, Safi takes a photo of her, then she says a few things, there is the time vortex, and yeah, everything is pretty much the same, right? Well, wrong. Even though these 2 scenes look very similar, there are many differences. Of course we know that in the gun photo, Max shoots Safi, but when she gets a second chance in the owl photo, while having to decide between 2 shitty futures, she, as a true hero, finds a third choice and drags Safi into the vortex. We're not here to analyze Max's behavior though. The true purpose of this video is to try to analyze how different is Safi's acting between the gun photo and the owl photo. I didn't notice it much during my first playthrough, but when I played the game for the second and third time, I started to pay more attention to Safi's behavior, and I noticed that something is way off. So in chapter 2, after Max finds Safi's hidden camera in Moses' office, they both come to Max's house. When they're going through Safi's last photos, they notice that there is actually one more photo they didn't know about. After Max switches to the last photo, they are both shocked. Max is there pointing a gun at Safi. They both cannot believe it, and Moses runs away in fear. Even Max is terrified of it. On the next day, after the scene where Max, practically shows Detective Alderman the gun photo,
Stupid Max! Stupid!
she decides that she has to find out what that photo means. She tries to use her old power to travel in time by photo. After a few tries, she finally manages to go back to December 4th, and she sees what happened. Because the scene is so short, I would like to show it uncut. Now pay attention to Safi's behavior.
So that's what it feels like to capture the perfect photo. Feels good. Final.
Safi.
It's here too.
But there wasn't a storm the day Safi died.
Maybe we are cursed. You, me, and Maya.
Safi! How did we get here? What happened?
Stop stalling, Max!
Tell me how to stop this. What do I have to do?
Pull the trigger!
So this was the first version of what originally happened before Max shot Safi. In chapter 4, after Safi loses control of her powers, Max realizes that she failed to stop it, and the only way to stop the storm is to shoot Safi. So she uses the owl photo, which she took in chapter 1, and travels back to December 4th once again. In chapter 5, Max wakes up near the statue and has to run to the overlook to find Safi. There we can see a similar conversation as in the gun photo. I will try to show you the most important parts of the scene, as it is a little longer than the first one. And again, pay attention to Safi's behavior, which will be a lot different this time.
Holy shit! You really did it! Weather's worse than I remember it.
The storm followed me.
So did I, apparently. I guess it's time.
Do you understand what you're asking me to do?
You've already done it, right? At this point, it's just recitation. Stop stalling, Max. You saw what happened. There wasn't any of me left. It was all Moses and Ben and Lucas and Gwen. It hurt so much. I hurt so many people. Help me fix it. Please. So that's what it feels like to capture the perfect photo. Feels good. Final. Maybe we are cursed. You, me, and Maya. Or maybe the world is cursed. We just live in it.
Safi, that's
Poetry and bullshit? Yeah, I know. God, you're such a cornball. Pull the trigger. Okay.
I don't know how about you, but to me, Safi in the gun photo and Safi in the owl photo seem as two completely different people. Now again, let's compare the most important parts of both scenes, this time side by side. On the left side, you can see Safi from the gun photo. On the right side is Safi from the owl photo.
So that's what it feels like to capture the perfect photo. Feels good. Final.
Safi.
So that's what it feels like to capture the perfect photo. Feels good. Final.
Do you see it? I mean, we only compared the first few seconds, and the difference is significant. Safi in the owl photo seems scared and terrified. On the other hand, if I didn't play the game, maybe I would think that in the gun photo, it's actually Safi's evil twin. She doesn't seem to care at all, and even when Max tries to talk to her, she just carelessly waves her hand like, "No, I don't care. You can keep your speech to yourself." Now, let's continue.
Tier 2.
The gun photo Safi sounds even a little amused by the tornado, when the owl photo Safi, on the other hand...
Holy shit! You really did it! Weather's worse than I remember it.
This Safi laughed as well, but this was more like a scared or even a desperate laughter.
Maybe we are cursed. You, me, and Maya. Maybe we are cursed. You, me, and Maya. Or maybe the world is cursed. We just live in it.
This is a short one, but again, you can see that the owl photo Safi is much sadder than Safi from the gun photo.
Safi! How did we get here? What happened?
Stop stalling, Max!
I mean, this is a huge red flag against the gun photo Safi. When Max asks her what happened, She is laughing. And this is not some kind of sad or desperate laughter. This is an amused, or maybe even an evil laughter. This is not a laughter of someone who is sorry. This is, in my opinion, a laughter of someone who doesn't give a damn about the consequences of their actions. And the same part of the scene, this time from the owl photo Safi's perspective.
Stop stalling, Max. You saw what happened. There wasn't any of me left. It was all Moses and Ben and Lucas and Gwen. It hurt so much. I hurt so many people. Help me fix it. Please.
The owl photo Safi fully realizes what she has done. She's terrified, scared, and very sad that she hurt so many people and desperately begs Max to help her fix it. She's ready to sacrifice herself for everybody. She wants to make things right. But lucky for her, Max saves her, she survives, and realities are merged with everybody alive, including Safi. My friend had a theory, and even in the comments, we agreed that there might be actually something to it. That in the gun photo, maybe it doesn't necessarily have to be Safi's consciousness from December 8th, when she lost controls of her powers for the first time. What if it could actually be Safi from even more distant future? Like for example, from the time when the sequel will take place. It could make sense. If Safi is on her Nick Fury quest to find other people with powers, it might lead to some kind of fight between Max and Safi. And maybe they both came back from that moment. That might explain why Safi seems so evil and careless. And also, the way how she says,
Tier 2.
doesn't mean here as that the storm traveled with them from December 8th to December 4th? Or what if this wasn't the first time Safi had this experience? What if Max brought her back so many times that she just doesn't seem surprised? Or maybe Safi is like that because she didn't know about Max's powers until she traveled back to December 4th, which is still unconfirmed, and she feels betrayed by Max. On the other hand, Max probably didn't know about Safi's power either. She probably found out when Safi lost control on the Overlook. But this theory is more suitable for the planned video about the original timeline. So, maybe I will discuss this theory further there, if I think of better arguments until then. Anyway, back to Safi's analysis. So it seems like the owl photo Safi is the good one, and the gun photo Safi is the bad one. However, it's not that simple. During the storm, after Max starts to separate Safi from everyone with her camera, on the roof, something is starting to feel off.
People like you and me, we're fucking divine.
Come on.
I'm serious. The shit that we can do, gods can do that stuff. Or monsters.
Suddenly, Safi's god complex is starting to kick in. She's having thoughts of how divine they are and what kind of things they could do with their powers. And she shows it in the most obvious way when Max separates the last part of Safi from her with a double exposed selfie. Yasmin is lying in the snow, still with her arm shot. And Safi? Well, she just doesn't seem to care that her mother is hurt. No matter what Yasmin did to her, this is just unforgivable. This is just pure evil. Yasmin is her mother after all. Save her first, and then be mad at her. During this whole scene, we can see full effect of Safi's god complex. She keeps saying what they could do with her powers, and that Max can just rewind if anything goes wrong. And again, this is so wrong. This is so wrong from Safi. This doesn't feel as Safi from the owl photo at all. This is more like the gun photo Safi. Even Max is scared of her and trying to convince her to stop. And even though it's not the main topic of this video, can we stop here please for a moment to talk about how wrong this final choice is? This whole scene is about Safi's god complex and Max trying to talk some sense into her, and then, suddenly, this appears. I mean, how in the world can this even be a choice? Max is scared. She's trying to talk some sense into Safi, and she can still choose to accept Safi's offer? This feels so wrong. This is one of the two scenes when Max feels totally out of character. The first scene, of course, is the one when she doesn't hide the gun photo from Alderman. Max hesitating so much didn't make any sense at all. Anyway, back to Safi. So as I mentioned, this doesn't seem like the owl photo Safi at all. It is more like the one from the gun photo. So what happened to her? Why the sudden change? Well, it's hard to tell. Maybe the simple explanation is that Safi might have been always like this, deep inside, and she just didn't show it until she lost control on the Overlook. But that doesn't seem like the good enough answer for me. In my opinion, this being true would be a very lazy writing. Of course, I still have some theory ready, even though I realized some things only during writing script of this video. So, as I mentioned, after the worlds merge, this doesn't seem like the Safi from the owl photo, but rather the one from the gun photo. What we need to realize is that not just everybody else has double memories, but also Safi does. She was also merged into a living person, and has to have both sets of memories. Now, I know you might be thinking, wait, but the gun photo Safi has been killed, so she can't have any memories after that. And you're right. I agree that this theory has so many holes, but what if there is another factor which could change it? As I mentioned in my first video, Safi's future consciousness was in December 4th, because a little part of Safi from Max's mind traveled with her back as well. We know how the photo traveling works for Max. She travels back in time, she is in the past, and after she travels back to the present, the past Max has no memories of it. But we don't know how that might work for Safi, because this was the first time ever when Max took someone else with her. And even when you count in the time vortex and merging two worlds, well, you will get a complete mess where anything is possible. What I wanted to say by this is that maybe merging so different personalities of Safi could have this effect on her. But that would require Safi to keep her memories somehow. So yeah, I can't really explain this sudden change of Safi's behavior, but I hope Deck 9 will find a way to explain it in the sequel. I still believe that we will see it someday. So, we reached the end of this video, and this is the point where I would like to invite you to discuss in the comments. What are your opinions about those differences between Safi from the gun photo and Safi from the owl photo? Does Safi from the gun photo seem evil to you as well? Does Safi from the owl photo seem sad, scared, and ready to make things right to you too? I am no expert in psychology, so if anyone knows more about body language, mimics, and psychology, please let us know in the comments about your opinions. I'm personally very curious what could it all mean, and I look forward to all of your opinions. If you liked this video, I would be really grateful if you could press that like button. Also, if you missed my previous video about the Overlook anomalies, you can go check it out. Also, if you missed my first video where I tried to explain some unanswered questions, why not give it a chance as well? Thanks again for watching, and have a nice day.